Hello, my name is Dave Miller. I'm the Deputy Managing Editor of the Killeen Daily Herald. We have with us today two distinguished guests from the November 5th Fort Hood Memorial Committee, Fred Latham and Tim Hancock. They're both previous mayors and have joined together as a team to head up the last phase of fundraising for the completion of the memorial. In February 2010, plans were announced to build a memorial to the victims of the November 5th, 2009 shooting at Fort Hood, to be located adjacent to the Killeen Civic and Conference Center. A significant portion of the necessary funds has been raised for this memorial, but a substantial amount remains. And we have some questions for our guests today. I'll just go right to them. First of all, what is the total cost of the project? Where does the fundraising effort currently stand, and what initiatives are you planning to raise the required amount?
Well, the project started off at $402,000. We've raised over $200,000. So the last figure we have as an estimate is $244,000. But now the $244,000, that amount would be reduced based upon in-kind donations. The $244,000 is what we would need in cash without any in-kind donations. Since that $244,000 was determined, we've had two in-kind donations that we feel that's really going to reduce that cost. One of the donations, for an example, is $26,000, and another donation includes all of the cement, and I can't give you a price of that, but I do know that will be substantial because of the cost of the cement. So we probably are down needing less than $150,000. And of course, we do have, and we have raised cash. We have approximately $65,000 in cash up to this point. Remember, to remind you, we have already paid for all of the internal parts of this memorial, all of the bronze sculptures. They've been completed. We've also paid for much of the stone that's going into that memorial. So we are safely saying that we probably need less than $150,000 remaining.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Mayor Latham, what are some of the initiatives that you're going to be coming forth with to get the rest of this raised, to get the project moving?
Well, we have sent out letters to businesses to ask them to contribute. We approach people all the time. We're going to get on a speaking tour. The mayor and I are going to be a dynamic duo who will express to the social civic clubs that we have in the area about how they can help. They are great tools to help raise money for different things, and we think they need to be informed, and if they so choose to participate, they can.
And I understand we're going to be having a website that's going to be dedicated to this project.
Right, yes.
And we'll give people information there and how they can donate and what the project's progress is.
And this website will be the first time we've had marketing involved in this project. We've been delayed many times simply because we stood back while other funds were being raised for other causes. And of course we had a delay because of the trial that was going through, and we didn't want to interfere with that. We were delayed somewhat because we sponsored the family members that came back during the trial, and we didn't want to get involved in that. Even though we held two receptions for those families while they were here during and after the trial.
We have another color run that will happen in November, and we have a local car wash dealer who has volunteered to, for the month of November, dedicate part of his proceeds to the memorial event as well.
That's great. And I understand there are several ways that supporters can get involved in the project. I know previously there had been opportunities to buy portions of it, like benches or stones or that sort of thing. Is that still ongoing?
That's still ongoing. You can dedicate or any kind of amount of money towards any portion of the memorial, and you can dedicate that to a family member or yourself, or any way you want to dedicate that particular portion.
Okay. And I'm sure the website will have an address where people can email or contact proper people to make their donations. And these are all tax deductible, I'm assuming.
Right, yes they are. And I'm sure that the new website is probably going to be the driving force behind the future of getting this memorial completed. I think it's going to be really a great opportunity for us as a committee to get the help that we've not had in the past. And that help, I mean, by letting the community know what we're doing and why we are doing it. And we've not had a method of doing that in the past. But I think this program will.
Okay, great. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, we believe the groundbreaking event that we'll have, that you're going to talk about later, will allow people to see something physical.
Sure.
They can drive by it and see there's actually work taking place, and I think that will motivate a lot of people to
Right.
participate.
And do you have a perspective, or I should say, a tentative date for the groundbreaking? I know it's pending possible council approval, but
We anticipate it to be the first part of July, hopefully the first week in July.
that's great. And I'm assuming that there's a target date in mind also for the completion of the project?
Well, I'm always one of those, I guess you call me optimistic, I guess, and I would like to see the memorial dedicated in November. I believe it's been ongoing too long, and I think it's time that it get done.
On the anniversary date.
Yes. That would be the 5th anniversary of that tragic shooting, yes. And while we're on the subject, why do you believe that it's imperative that this project be brought to fruition? And both of you like to
Well,
express
I
that?
think this is a unique memorial. It honors the 13 people who were killed along with the 32 people who were wounded, but this was an event that happened to people right here on Fort Hood and in Central Texas. It kind of like the 9/11 towers. It was unprovoked from our side. These were defenseless people who were in the process of going through a deployment or coming back from a deployment, and they were unarmed, no weapons, and that was very personal. But you know, I've grown up in Killeen. I'm a native Killeenite, and you know, our relationship with the military has grown stronger and stronger, and I think it's just the right thing to do to honor not only these people who were involved, but also all the military who come through Fort Hood every year, and to say to them that this is a reflection of how we feel about you, that we care about what happens to you and your families.
This incident, I guess it touched me quite a bit because I had and still have one son on active duty, and of course, most people know that I'm a retired military. And I was on the installation when this thing happened. And here in Killeen, we say that Fort Hood is Killeen. All over the world, we say Fort Hood is in Killeen. And if Fort Hood is in Killeen, then I believe that Killeen, and not only Killeen, but Central Texas claims Fort Hood. And I think that makes it imperative that we honor all of the soldiers that come to Fort Hood. They may not be permanent citizens, but they are citizens while they are here. And if you look at that incident, and I look at it from probably a different perspective than most people, being here in Killeen during that incident was about as close that Killeen should ever want to experience what those soldiers had experienced in Iraq and Afghanistan or wherever they were, right here in Killeen. Right here at Fort Hood, that happened there at Fort Hood. And all the citizens in Killeen then was pretty close to what I consider combat. I do not consider that as being workforce violence. I think that was much more than that. Here's soldiers there fighting for their lives as they have for our lives, and they're fighting with chairs and brooms and mops or whatever they could get their hands on. It really, you know, it moves me, and I think that if we say that we are Fort Hood, and if you go downtown, you'll see signs that talks about Killeen and Fort Hood. If we've had this going on for all of these years, then we do have some responsibility for those that were killed here and wounded here. And I just think that this would be a way of recognizing all of the soldiers that come through Fort Hood and Killeen, because this has been the largest deployment site since the war. And when the soldiers come here and are stationed here or pass through here, who do they belong to? I think they belong to Central Texas and, of course, Killeen.
That's our way of saying we take care of our own and we honor our own.
If we take care of our own, they were our own. Just because they're gone and just because they're wounded, and just because some of them have had to be medically discharged, we still own them. If you claim them, you own them, and we claim them.
Okay.
Our sculptor, Troy Kelly, has done a magnificent job of personalizing each one of the sculptures that he's done. And it is a reflection of that person, their hometown, and their interest, and it just shows that it's a one-to-one relationship between us and them. When we were mayors and on the council, we had the opportunity many times to go to Washington, D.C., and we always took some extra time to go to Walter Reed to see some of the wounded soldiers. Some of them were from Fort Hood and some of them were not, but we got close and personal and saw the sacrifice that they made. It was just amazing. They weren't concerned about their wounds or the condition they were in. They were concerned about getting back to their buddies. It's that kind of relationship, and I hope that we have, over time, become that same kind of endearing community to these soldiers, because they're not here for a long time. They're just in and out. But when they leave, we made a promise to take care of their families, and I think we're doing a much better job of that, and we'll continue to do that. And in my lifetime of being from Killeen, I've noticed that our community has become, by majority, more military people. They represent the majority now, so they are us. And when some of them are hurt like this or killed in action, it's very personal. And we are just here to ask people to participate. Not everybody may not do that, but we think it's a just cause, and we'd like their support.
And thank you, gentlemen, both for being here and for sharing your vision for this project. We hope it becomes something that Central Texas community can be very proud of.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for having us.